Nikita, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with those details. In other news, the Supreme Court has ruled that developers cannot evade monetary penalties imposed for consumer right violations under the guise of insolvency proceedings, underlining that allowing such a practice would erode consumer trust and worsen the already vulnerable position of home buyers due to possession delays and contract breaches. The verdict is expected to have far-reaching implications for real estate developers and businesses attempting to use insolvency proceedings as a means to evade penalties imposed by consumer courts. Big developments have taken place. This comes at a time when the UP government has already cracked down on one such developer, the Ansal group. My colleague Sambhav Sharma with us on the broadcast. Sambhav, as we've been discussing the Ansal group case in Uttar Pradesh, where an FIR has now been lodged against the developing company, we're now learning that the Supreme Court has also come down pretty heavily in such a case. The Supreme Court has said the developers should not be allowed to evade penalties by simply declaring bankruptcy. What more can you tell us? In what context has the Supreme Court given this judgment?
Well, absolutely. As you rightly pointed out, this Supreme Court bench of Justice Vikram Nath and P.B. Varale emphasized that the penalties imposed by consumer courts serve as a regulatory function and do not constitute debt under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Court, and also permitting a stay on regulatory penalties under the guise of insolvency proceedings. This is what is said by the top court, wherein the Supreme Court ruled that the developers cannot evade monetary penalties imposed for consumer right violation under the guise of insolvency proceedings. This is what is said, and this ruling of the top court has as a far-reaching implications, consequences for the retailers and the businesses who are attempting to use insolvency proceedings as a mean to evade penalties. So this is very important, wherein the Supreme Court bench of Justice headed by Justice Vikram Nath made it clear that the penalties imposed by consumer courts serve as a regulatory function and do not constitute as debt under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Court.
All right, Sambhav, stay on with us. We have some more news coming in. A Delhi court on the 4th of March has granted bail to